Hello ratbags, it's Jade. Welcome to a special Conan Exiles video. Today we're going to be delving into official servers and what's going on with renting your server. If you've tried playing Conan Exiles on the PS4 since it went part of the PS Plus promotion, you'll have realised that sometimes it's really hard to get hold of an actual official server. Trying to join one during peak period, you've been waiting up to an hour in some situations, depending on what time of day it is. I've been playing on official servers recently because I have been working on an official level up guide. I had to wait till the morning time to actually do it because I couldn't get on during the evening. Certain times it is going to be easy to get on, but if you try getting on that same server in a busy period, you are waiting ages. I've seen so many comments. It's almost unbelievable how long people have had to wait to join a game. And this all could have been avoided if Funcom had maybe prepped things a little bit sooner. So we're going to dig into that a little bit and explain why I think Funcom should have done better and what they should be doing right now. But I have got something worse. Basically, the providers of these servers that provide the official servers and they give you the opportunity to rent your own server, Gportal, have kind of been doing something a little bit dodgy in my opinion. I'm going to be presenting you all the information that was given to me by them. I've been in direct contact with them in DMs. I've also spoken to the community managers of Funcom on Twitter as well. And despite their promises and what they've spoken about, it really just feels like they've maybe gone for a little bit of extra money at the expense of players playing this game. So come with me, it's going to be an unusual one if you're brand new to my channel, but long time subscribers, you'll know I always kick up a fuss if I see developers maybe not acting the way they should or doing something that maybe is negative for players. So let's start off with the official server situation. Right now, on player versus player, there are hundreds of servers. I reckon there's probably about 5, maybe 600 servers running at the moment. There should be just about enough room to jump on. However, they could probably have done with another 2, maybe 3, 400 servers even at the launch when it became a PS Plus game. If you don't know how it works with Sony and PS Plus games, Sony will offer a huge lump sum to the developer and basically buy all their copies of their game to put as free to play. PlayStations have been sold millions of times. There's 100 million PlayStation 4's been sold in its lifetime. You can imagine that over that course of period, there's probably up to 40 million, 50 million people that have actually bought PS Plus. Surprisingly, there are some people that don't or don't always keep their PS Plus up, and so I reckon it's about half that number. Even with 40 million people suddenly picking up Conan Exiles, you would then maybe understand why they couldn't cope. But not everyone is going to play every game that comes up with PS Plus. They generally wait, they might get into it, or they've just got no interest. Either way, there's still going to be a lot more players wanting to try the game out. Funcom just didn't prep for this. They took the money from Sony and they haven't given anything back. Not yet anyway. They've just started to increase server caps. They've added some more for Brazil and Australia, but right now North America and Europe doesn't have as many. Now, as I said, I spoke to them, I spoke to community managers, and in their opinion, they're waiting to see how things are. They don't necessarily want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on servers if the player base suddenly disappears again, and that definitely could happen. Before it became free to play, Conan Exiles was pretty dead, on the Xbox and PS4 anyway. It had a loyal following, and there was definitely a good few thousand people playing it on a regular basis, but the servers were pretty low population, 3 or 4 people on a server at a time when they're meant to hold up to 40. You expect when a game launches the first time, maybe online games like Destiny, The Division, any other online big game, there's going to be some problems with servers. We accept that now, even though they have betas. These AAA companies kind of launch in bad positions. You might have to wait half an hour, 40 minutes, or you just can't seem to get onto a game. Conan Exiles has been out over a year. They've had plenty of time to plan exactly what would happen once Sony said to them, we want to give your game as a free PS Plus game. So I don't buy it. They couldn't have prepped and put more servers out there for players to use. I'm glad they're putting servers there now, extra ones, for the really low population servers or the people that really want servers the most or need them the most. But I still think there's a hell of a lot of people not being able to enjoy the full experience because they simply cannot get onto the official servers. So that's that side of things. I'm not impressed with Conan Exiles. Funcom, I think they could have done more. They've given me a response though, and we have to just see how it goes if they're going to provide more. They may be correct and player numbers may dwindle and they may not need to put any more servers out there. But definitely in the first 2 weeks, I have had hundreds of comments saying they can't get into the game. And just remember, Conan Exiles is meant to be played on servers. It's a good game when you play it offline or in your single player world, but to really get the full experience, to me, in my opinion, Conan Exiles is a true PvP online game. Okay, so that's that gripe. You can call it a moan, you can disagree or agree with me, whatever, pop it in the comment section. Now let's get on to Gportal, who Funcom say they have no direct control over how they process or what they do with their servers. It's up to them how they price it, and we have to take it up with them. I do call bullshit on that. Funcom owns Conan Exiles. They are the ones that make decisions on who provides servers. So if someone is maybe doing something a little bit funny or a bit dodgy, I still think they maybe need to do a bit more work in helping communicate and find out the problem. But fast forward to Twitter, I was talking to a subscriber and he was basically telling me that he couldn't get a server. He could only rent a server that had 20 slots and above. This was news to me, as I've rented out servers in the past for Conan Exiles on PS4 and Xbox that only had 10 slot servers. I also spoke to Jim Bob Sauce. You may recognise him. He's done Conan Exiles content in the past and he does a lot of art content. He has had a 10 slot server running for nearly a year. But according to Gportal, they have said that they've always had servers at 20 slots and above. I found this to be a direct lie. So I brought this up on Twitter and, you know, I really do start losing my shit when people start telling me lies. Jim Bob is showing them the proof that he's got a 10 slot server. I have shown my proof that I've got a 17 slot server, yet we're getting told by Gportal that you can't actually ever get them servers. So then they say it was a bug, there was a mistake. They revamped their website last month, and since they've done that, there was an issue where it could mean you could rent a server that had less than 20 slots. Now, if you haven't already fallen asleep, why is this important? Well, every slot that you increases the price of the server. A 10 slot server is cheaper than a 20 slot server. Fact. So, players don't necessarily want a 20 slot server, they just want to play with their buddies, Conan Exiles. They can't get onto official servers because there's not many, and so what do they go and do? They want to rent one out. But they're being forced to rent a 20 slot server when they only need something maybe like a 10 slot. Gportal seemingly only made this happen where you could only rent 20 slot servers at the exact time that Conan Exiles decides to go free to play. Is that not a bit dodgy and suspect? At first it really seemed to me like they were cash grabbing, basically forcing players to buy the extra slots, basically give them more money because demand would be there because so many players would be trying to rent their own server. Gportal were sold out of a bunch of locations and lots of players couldn't rent out a server in the first week of Conan being free on the PS Plus. So I'm not happy. I really discussed this more on Twitter and we'd finally take it to DMs, where the server providers accuse me of basically being misspreading information and working for Trado, one of their rivals. Are you mad, bro? Obviously this guy has never really watched my channel, and if anyone's new, you might not even realise this, but I always stand up for players. If I see problems, if I see issues, I give you good stuff, I give you previews of games, I give you reviews, I give you tutorials, guides and updates. But I also talk about the problems the game's having. That's part of what I do as my channel. I give you the full picture. I am an Trado partner. They sponsor my ARC servers. I get them for free, and in the past I've generated some views for them or some clicks because I've done some sponsored content. I've labelled that clearly on videos that is sponsored content. But by and large, I really actually like Trado for the way they do things. But they don't have console servers for Conan Exiles at the moment. So it's not like I can do anything to affect that or change it. In the past, Gportal have actually offered me a big lump of money to actually be a sponsored partner for them too. But I turned them down because I didn't actually rate them as a company. I just preferred using the Trado which I'd been using. But to go and accuse me of doing it on purpose and stirring up some sort of hate campaign or spreading misinformation, it was absolute bullshit. I've had plenty of arguments with the Ark Survival Evolved community managers and some of their developers in the past about the state of the game, and so on reflection I've also criticised Trado sometimes in the way that the servers are ran. That's just by and part of what my channel is. I don't lie and I'm not a shill. I will give you upfront information based on what I think is relevant. There is nothing gained by me saying don't rent a server from Gportal or spreading lies about them because there is no other alternative. But the way they've acted in these first initial stages really made me think, my gosh, these guys are absolutely mental. So I think about it and think, right, someone's obviously kicking off some fuss. They're trying to ask them some difficult questions. Maybe they're just getting a little bit mixed up. Let's try and give them a little bit of space and let's see if we can resolve this a bit better. So during some DMs, they eventually tell me that due to some technical limitations, they have to increase the slots to 20. Something to do with the memory that Conan Exiles on PS4 uses up a lot more RAM than Xbox or PC, and because of that reason it takes up much more of the space in these units. If you don't know how they work, these server providers have these big huge boxes with lots of CPUs in them, and basically they run hundreds and hundreds of servers just from one box. Now I call it a box, it's actually quite big. It's a huge little big huge industrial electronic system. There can be problems and issues if things get changed around. They might want to move some of these servers over to another provider, and they've got different locations all around the world to help with ping and keeping your internet connection good. So fine, if they've got technical limitations or there's some problems with it, I can understand them having to do what they have to do. But facts are, it's a bit of a lie still. I'm able to buy a server under 20 slots, so was Jim Bob Sauce, and so have other players in the past. They have only just increased this because of the demand. In their eyes, they've increased it because the demand meant servers had to go up that way, otherwise they wouldn't be able to provide servers for players. But it's still a little bit too convenient for me, and it's still a bit too convenient that they had a bug for the last month that allowed certain people able to buy servers with less than 20 slots. Now things calmed down a little bit in DMs and I tried being a bit more understanding. Likewise, they realised maybe I'm not out there to get them, I'm just trying to be fair on players' behalf. And so they said that they're going to work on stuff, and they apologised for not communicating properly about the changes they made. And to be honest, I was going to leave it there, maybe do this little video telling you guys what's happening and tell you why you've had some problems trying to rent a server. Job done, nothing to it. But then they talk about giving an extra day as a goodwill gesture for players that have maybe been inconvenienced or maybe not communicating properly, and they will in fact offer a special day where you can buy a server that has only 10 slots. And this literally just undid everything they've said. All the technical jargon they're throwing my way, all this talk about getting me to look at this link or that link or look at analytics has all gone out the window. Because if they can offer that for one day that you can rent whatever slots you want, or 10 slots only, you can do that all the time. They have literally increased the server slots because it generates them more money. They have defended it and said it doesn't. It costs them more money to run 20 slot servers than it does 10 slot servers. But ultimately, looking through that, and I'm not fucking a dickhead, you can clearly see they've raised their prices basically because there is more demand. It's a business decision that I'm sure lots of people running their own business will understand. And if they'd just been honest and said, look, we've had to increase the prices because we've got to pay for more servers because you guys have been so demanding it, I could understand that. But by coming out and saying stuff like they've never had servers under 20 slots, like there's been a bug for a month, and then say they're going to offer people the chance to buy 10 slot servers, it all just seems like a big massive clusterfuck. Bottom line is, if they're by their word, they're going to offer a day where you can rent a server. So if you've been thinking about renting a Conan Exiles server, but 20 slots is putting you off, wait until they've done this day, and if it doesn't start coming down in the future that you can actually have a server for less slots, then I wouldn't bother. I really don't see the point in renting a 20 slot server if there's only 3 or 4 of you. You might as well just play single player or leave it a few weeks and go and try the game when the numbers have come down a bit on official servers. I don't take kindly to people that accuse me of stuff when I'm simply just looking out for players, and I really didn't want to have to do this video, but they literally ruined it by that last little bit. If you can have 10 slot servers when you decide you want to as a goodwill gesture, you can have 10 slot servers any fucking time you want. Gportal are choosing not to have 10 slot servers because it generates more money having 20 slots. Agree, disagree, let me know if you know anything about the systems that are in place. I am not a technical minded person with servers, but I do know people that are, and I've gone around and checked and asked a few things, and it does seem a little bit suspect. I accept that sometimes it's going to cost them more money to have only 10 slot servers and they need more RAM, and so they have to maybe use more expensive stuff, but they have not made that clear on their website, and on their website they have still so many games that you can rent only 10 slots or even lower than that. It can't be the case that Conan Exiles is like the most demanding game out of all of them. I don't buy that for 1 second. Agree, disagree, let me know in the comment section. I hope this has raised some questions, and I hope you guys can take advantage of the fact that I maybe have got you a chance to rent a 10 slot server. If that's what you were after and you couldn't get one, well, hopefully now you can. I'll let you guys know when that's going to happen. Gportal, yeah, if I've got this wrong, then by all means correct me, but from what you've told me and the way that you responded initially, it just feels like you've kind of just been reaching around trying to find a good answer. It doesn't benefit me in the slightest. There is no other providers, so I can't get you guys to run off to the trader because you can't rent any other servers on Gportal. They're the ones that have got the servers for Conan Exiles, so it's complete bollocks. I just really am disappointed in the outcome of this. I'll be back with more regular Conan Exiles content for sure, but just a little warning to everyone and what's going on with the situation with servers. Also again, with Funcom, really do hope they learn from this. Next time they have something happen like this, make sure you've got enough servers for the people that have bought your game and the people that are going to be playing it. Until next time, Ratbags, I will see you later.